Hi, I'm Stowers from Big Boys and Big Girls, and today I have a wonderful guest with me, and it's Puna Sila, and Puna's been with Big Girls from the 28th of the 3rd 2012, and it's coming up to nearly 4 years.
Yes.
And I'd just like to say thank you for coming here and talking on camera, because I know that other people will be inspired by your journey. I don't want to give away too much, but I would just like to say thank you, and I'm very humbled that you're here with us today. Especially I'm more humbled because I know your story. I know a lot of it. But Puna, what was the defining moment that brought you to Big Girls? And if you could describe to me, what was life like?
Life at that stage was I think, to sum it up for me, was the curtain was closing. I was in hospital. Wired up. I was on a ventilator. I was, on heart monitors, on oxygen. I was at the lowest point I thought I could ever be at. The defining moment for me was I had come to the point where I just, kind of given up. Had doctors at me that whole morning from 6 o'clock. I think they had resuscitated me a couple of times throughout the night. I'd stopped breathing. My heart stopped working a couple of times. Just getting no oxygen at all. And I think because they weren't getting through to me, they decided to send me home.
What do you mean, Pun, by they weren't getting through to you?
The amount of times they keep saying to me, you have to lose the weight, you have to do something for yourself. I'd already had 2 heart attacks. I had a stroke. Had all these health issues, to this day I'm still struggling to get through them. But even when I had the bariatric surgeon walk into my hospital room and say to me, I can help you. I say to him, basically, in a nutshell, there's a door, F off, Why do I want to have to lose 140 kilos, 150 plus kilos before I can have the surgery? I was topping 227, and even then I was denying to myself that I was that heavy. I was, incapable of doing things. The basic things like going into the shower by myself. Walking to the bathroom by myself. And the hardest thing is having your daughter, my child, support me in those areas, And I keep thinking, this is no life for me. Lord, just take me, just take me today. And at that very point I felt like that. My daughter walked into my hospital room. I was in isolation. They were ready to wheel me out into the whānau room and make the call to Bobby and the rest of the family to come say their goodbyes. It was my daughter that made me change how I understood how she felt and what she was going through. That was the hardest thing as a mother. To see your child crying and you know, that it still embarrasses me that kind of, you know, that it took my own child to kind of snap me out of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we all know that pain is a great motivator and a driver. It can either motivate you or keep you prisoner. And which one was it for you?
I think that was my prison, you know, the pain, and not wanting to acknowledge that I was struggling with the weight, with the, you know, with the medical issues, you know. I thought if you know, if I just fell asleep and didn't wake up again, that was okay. Then I didn't have to watch my family suffer. You know, seeing me the way I was at the time, you know, that was really hard.
And what was your personality like while you were suffering, going through this, feeling like your family was suffering, going through what you ultimately had? Well, what was your attitude and what was your personality like at that time?
Very angry. I at one stage felt really neglected. Just angry. I felt cheated. You know, I kept thinking my family is, you know, Bobby and Chrissy are my life apart from my parents. But I felt like I was being left out, you know.
Yes.
While they were enjoying being active, going out to places, I was stuck at home.
Yes.
Because I couldn't move.
Yes.
It made me very angry and very, you know,
a prisoner within your own body.
Yeah. Trapped is how I felt very trapped.
What sort of rationale, Puna, did you used to make? And we all know that people use their own rationale to try and make excuses, to describe what they're not prepared to do or what they're not going to do. And, you know, I have my own.
Yeah.
But what were your rationale excuses when you didn't want to try, when you wanted to die?
Yeah. I think I used it quite frequently, you know, often with, especially on Bobby, you know, if he was encouraging me to, like, we go for a walk, you know, I said, you know, I'd bring up my health issues, you know, I said, I can't, you know, was the common phrase for me. I can't do that because my heart, my chest hurts, you know. I can't walk too far because, you know, my body's sore. And there was an element of truth to it, but I clung to that as my crutch, you know.
Yes.
As something to protect myself, because a lot of it was that I was embarrassed to be seen with him out in public, you know.
What was your perception of the outside world? Like, if you were to walk down the street, what did you think other people thought?
I used to think that people were staring at me, thinking, you know, oh, look at that disgusting fat woman, you know, why doesn't she do something with her life? You know, why doesn't she do something about her weight? You know, I'm my worst critic, you know, but what I saw of the world, you know, what they saw in me wasn't very positive, you know. I used to see the world as, you know, they were always standing in judgment of a person like me.
Yes. I think it's important that that people understand your journey and to be a big person and feel the pain that you constantly go through, where does that come from?
I think it's it's so deep rooted, that pain, it's um, I just honestly believe it came back from my own disappointments in my life, and I still cling to those disappointments, If I could, for example, if I could be skinny, things would be so much better for me. If I could be, have the perfect body, then things would be better for me. Life would be so much better.
Yes.
But that's just a very warped sense of understanding of the world.
And how much weight have you lost, Puna?
To date, I think I've lost 85 kilos approximately.
And I know that we're going to go to part 2 in a minute. I'm just going to stop this now.
Yeah.
And we're going to come back and we're going to discuss what the weight loss was and what the journey's been like. And so we're back again, and we're asking Puna what's a funny story that she could share with us. And there's been many funny stories, and our tape stops at around about 17 minutes, so it had stopped. So if you've heard this, my apologies. But if we don't mention Darren Steele within our podcast, then Darren gets a little bit angry and he feels neglected. But I was just asking Puna what's a funny story that she could share with us.
I think on one occasion you actually took over for Darren while he was on holiday. One of the very few times a year he's had a holiday in the 4 years I've been in the program. And
so we're back again with part 2 with Puna Sila. And how much weight have you lost again, Puna?
Approximately 85 kilos today.
85 kilos. Now I know that when we watch things like The Biggest Loser in America and they do pounds and someone has lost 100 pounds, well, times 85 kilos by 2.2, 8 and 8 is 16, it's easy to do the math. Puna's lost around about 170, 175 pounds. And that's a human being. And that's an amazing, wonderful journey. But what I'd like to do is talk more about what's the impact of losing all of that weight.
Actually, when I was in hospital, I had a specialist that came in for my respiratory. My cardiologist was there too. I think the pretty pivotal point for me was to have 2 different specialists sit there and fight off the bariatric surgeon, the medical team in the hospital, and say, look, let's work with this lady and see what we can do. And they both stuck with me, my cardiologist and my respiratory specialist, and to this day my respiratory doctor said to me, you're a very different woman. You've almost reversed everything that's happened to your lungs, to the point where if I can get down to 140 kilos, 130 kilos, I could come off the CPAP machine, He was the only one that stood by me. I know my cardiologist wasn't too happy when I left the hospital on one occasion without my oxygen machine, because I always remembered other people that were in the cardiac clinics with me, saying how trapped they were to those bottles. If I could do without it, then I was going to do without it and make my heart and my lungs work harder than they ever had.
Yes.
The right way, instead of having to be dependent. I was already dependent on people around me, you know, my family.
And what's your journey like now?
I can drive by myself now. I am a lot fitter. I just recently, my husband and my hubby and I just finished renovating our family home. You know, being up on my feet for hours on end, you know. It's things I haven't done since I was a teenager, you know, before I even had Chrissy. You know, I'm you know, walking, running now. You know, when I say running, it's not, you know, like running, but in my head I'm running like a gazelle down the Serengeti, but you know. But yeah, I feel healthier within myself. I feel fitter. I feel happy.
And what matters, Pun? You know, we have a society out there that paints a picture that everyone is thin, everyone is healthy, everyone is the same. And everything is equal. And we know that's not true.
No.
There are big people, there are skinny people, there are fat people, there are skinny people that are sick. Unfortunately, you had both sides. You had extremely sick and morbidly obese, you know, weighing 227
kilos.
7 kilos.
Yeah.
And what an amazing journey you've had by being able to lose 85 kilos and have your surgeons come on board and saying, wow, what a miraculous journey you've had. But it's taken 4 years.
Yeah.
And how much longer have we got to go?
You know, I used to put, you know, being in a work environment where you put time frames and, you know, but I think when it comes to my life and my, you know, well-being, I think however long it'll take, whether it be a year, whether it be another 2 years, this is my life now. This is my life journey. I can't, you know, it has to be an everyday process. Working through the routine for myself is all about, you know, being in that supported environments within big boys and big girls. That's where I get the essence of my well-being, you know, having that that support from like-minded people, you know. And the thing I love about yourself and our trainer, Darren, is that you not only walk the walk with us, but you've been on that journey yourself. You know, that's the difference from any other thing that I may have experienced in my life. You know, whatever other programs or, you know, other diets I've been on, it didn't work for me because I was looking at skinny people that were telling me, okay, this is how you got to do things. But I think what works for me is that understanding this is my life now, from here on in. There is no turning back.
No. What inspirational information could you give to others out there that could be in your shoes? You know, like, well, we know there are many people out there that are stuck, and they don't know how to get to day one, and they don't know, you know, when you've got heart disease, when you've had strokes, you've had 2 heart attacks, you're 227 kilos, and you can't do things for yourself, and you just want to die. What information can you give to another person that's out there? If there was just one person that you could help, what information would that be?
I think the one thing I would have to say to that person is that have faith in yourself. Trust that you can do it. You know, whether you feel broken at this very time, but believe me, this will change your life. You know, doing something that is completely for you. And something that Buck said to me in the beginning is you need to be selfish for yourself to get yourself back into the right space, right health, you know, it's all about you. You are so worth it. You are so worth it.
Indeed. Now, and going to the opposite side now, I'd like to ask you, what's a funny story about that you could tell people? And I know there's many funny stories, and we'll talk about Darren Steele a little bit later. But you know, if we don't mention Darren on every podcast that we do, he gets a little bit angry. So, what's a funny story that you could share with everyone?
As Bug said, you know, there's many funny stories, but I think on one occasion you took a class with us, and you know, at that time I was still...
Yes, apparently I was taking over a class for Darren, who's hardly ever away, and Darren knows when to push the limits and when to back off again, but that particular time I was training Puna's class, and
Yes, yeah.
and I was being very respectful.
We were actually doing shuttle runs, and we had to team relays, and this particular exercise is not really the kind of exercise you want to be. It's the Wolverines.
Oh yes.
Yes. And then straight from the Wolverines, if you can imagine, you've got your butt up in the air and you're trying to do the Wolverine, and all you can hear in the corner of the room is, "Don't say no, say go!" And then I think many of the girls just pushed through, but little old me had to swear on the top of my lungs. Yes. And let's just say that was the first introduction to Buck and Puna Shay that morning, and everybody just cracked up laughing after I humbly apologised. But I think that the moral to the story is that you don't know how much you can do unless you do it. And what Buck was trying to say to me is, don't think about it, just do it. You know,
absolutely.
just go.
I think with my training style and Darren's is similar, as we like to have a lot of fun. I might be a wee bit more intense, and Darren gets all the cakes. I just want to bring that up. Darren gets cakes from big girls, and I haven't received anything. Okay, it's not right. What's the next goal for you, Pun?
I think well, we've got the Team Taupo run in February,
yes,
which is the end of February. I've got the Rotorua marathon. I've already done the quarter marathon.
Yes.
So, you know, there's different events coming up throughout the year, and I think it's just, you know, the beautiful thing about being in Big Boys and Big Girls is that it's created not only a family environment, but it's a platform for us to dare, you know, to dare ourselves to try different things, you know. It's, you know, there's different events that are coming up, scheduled in the year that we're all looking into, you know, not only as individuals, but...
How many years have you done the Taupo relay?
This will be our third year.
Third year. This is a woman that 4 years ago was ready to die, and that said prayers that night saying, God, let me just go to sleep and not wake up.
Yeah.
And 4 years later, 85 kilos, a whole life transformation. The surgeons have said she has done a complete 360, and she's still here with us today. And we would have never experienced anything that she's been talking about if she had died. And we're better for it, Puna, having you there. You know, the people in our classes, they call you Mama.
Yes.
And that's how much love they have for you. You know, the greatest gift of all is reciprocal love, and we sort of experience that.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that you'd like to be remembered for?
I think be remembered for, you know, just the compassion for others and the determination to get to where I need to get to, within my health and within my own journey, you know, that I completely love everybody, you know. Yeah.
Now, Pun, I'd like to ask a little question, and it's, can you do this for anyone else?
You mean the journey? At first, you know, to be completely honest, at first I thought I was doing it for my daughter, for my husband, for my family. But I think in our debriefs, I came to realize that this had to be for me. Ultimately, at the end of the day, no one else can do this for me. Someone else can't do it for, for me. It has to be about me. You have to do it for yourself.
So, what are you saying? Who can save your life?
Myself.
And who else?
The program.
Oh, I'm just saying, because even though Bob, Puna's husband, came to me and he says, "Bro, can you help me with my wife? Can you do a diet for her?" And I said, "I can do a diet, but she's not going to do it."
Yeah.
And he said to me, "Well, what can we do?" And I said to Bobby, "Bring her in."
Yeah.
And that was a mission and a half, because the only person that could save Puna was Puna.
Yeah.
And as much as this journey was extremely hard, every day was hard.
It was. I think there had been a few occasions where, as I started my journey, other people that I know in my life were in the same position, and I came for help. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they've got to cross that bridge for themselves.
Who can do the physical work for you?
Me.
And who else?
No one else.
That's right.
Yeah.
No one else. Puna, thank you for being here. In finishing, I just want to ask you if you'd say a few words to Darren.
Darren Steele, what can I say? I know often in giving thanks and acknowledging you, I've often said that you're the only other male in my life that can make me do things and, tell me how it is. I remember that first day in class, and we had circuits, and Bobby was teamed up with me. He was my buddy for a good part of a month. But that very first session where I saw fear in your eyes, and I'm glad to say that those fears have kind of subsided considerably since I've been on the program. You are most definitely an angel who has walked alongside me and many others. You watched us grow, you've watched us crumble, but you've always been there to pick us up, and I'm forever grateful.
Thank you, Puna. I just want to say thank you to Puna for her brave and courageous journey, and in 4 years' time I still want to be able to come and see where you are and what you've done and what you're doing, and inspiring another generation to change.
In another 4 years' time I could be doing the New York Marathon.
Yeah. Alright, well, in 4 years' time you got it. I'd like to come back maybe Pun in 6 months' time and just revisit and find out where you are.
Certainly.
Alright.
It'd be my pleasure.
Thank you. On behalf of Puna and myself, big boys and big girls everywhere, please be inspired and share this. It may save someone's life.
Thank you.